So, yeah, quite a bit of topics here today. So, I am Mario. I'm an astrobiologist. I'm very loud and very gay. And basically, my life has been going through quite a lot. Actually, it's very funny I'm talking here, because when I first studied my degree in biotechnology, I wanted to work on treatment and diagnosis of rare disease and cancer. Then the topic changed radically during my life. So then I went into microbiology and then into astrobiology. So I guess the first question that we have as humans is, are we alone in the universe? Is there something apart from us, not talking about only God, but also, is there another kind of life in some of the planets? So I guess this is what is behind what I do professionally. So let's start by the beginning. So we all love pop culture, right? We all love Mars, and humanity has been obsessed with Mars forever. So actually, it's not here, but the first person that mentioned about Mars in literature was in Gulliver's Travels, where actually before the 2 moons of Mars were discovered, they were predicted to be there, and actually quite accurately. But it wasn't until 1897 when Herbert Wells took up The War of the Worlds, fantastic book about a Martian invasion on Earth. So quite a hostile kind of neighbors we have. Then a bit later, in 1911, Bryce Burroughs actually wrote The Martian Tales, and he was the first one describing Martians as small, clean creatures. So it has come from like more than 100 years ago, this vision we have about Martians being small and green. Then 1948, we all know Marvin the Martian. Jeff Jones was the first one to draw it. And then 1951, The Martian Chronicles. There are more references to Mars in literature and life on Mars, but I didn't have time to talk all of them. Then 1973, David Bowie is the life on Mars, which is basically the kind of question that I want to answer in my research. So it's quite an ambitious project, but it's quite exciting as well. And then 1996, one of my favorite films when I was a kid, Tim Burton, Mars Attacks, the famous arc. And then 2015, Ridley Scott, The Martian. And very interestingly, in terms of microbiology, which is my background, it's quite an accurate film. So he actually made so using what we call regolith, so the kind of dust that the marsh has, and mix it with some human matter to try to stimulate the microbes that could live there. So actually, one of the things I haven't mentioned here is there is a novel written during the Russian-Soviet communism called Aelita, Queen of Mars, in which they have this Queen of Mars, which basically represented capitalism. So Mars has even been used as politics. So let's move forward. So actually, my laptop got lost on the way here. So this is the previous version. So maybe you're going to find some typos. So just ignore it. So can life on Mars be possible? Well, first of all, we need to think of temperatures. We think of Mars, and we tend to think of a very cold place. But Mars can get very toasty, like around 30 degrees. That's like almost 2 days ago here in the UK. So actually, that's quite a nice temperature for life to survive. And life has been known to proliferate at minus 15 degrees. So temperature doesn't seem to be quite a burden for life on Mars. Let's say atmospheric composition of Mars. Oxygen is very low. But life doesn't need oxygen. We need oxygen, and we tend to think that everything is like us. But no, there are many microbes on Earth that actually survive in actual absence of oxygen, and oxygen is toxic for them. Water, we tend to think of Mars as this very dry place, but we have ice. Ice is made of water. This year, actually, we have discovered that there might be some glacial water and some subsurface water around Mars. And we know that in the past also Mars had water, because we have geomorphological, so we have some kind of landscapes in Mars that are undoubtedly showing that Mars had water in the past. Also, we have some substances that life can oxidize in order to get energy and proliferate. So it seems that we have all the ingredients for life to thrive on this planet. So the next question is, okay, we have this planet, we haven't been there yet physically, so we've sent some rovers, we have some satellites going around it, but we haven't been able to bring samples back from Mars. So what is the approach that we can have on Earth for this? Well, let's try to find places that are kind of similar to Mars. So just to mention some, Rio Tinto, that's south of Spain, that's basically a river made of sulfuric acid. pH 2.3. It's that right because that's iron dissolved in water. And life can survive there. Shocker. Atacama Desert, one of the driest places on Earth. It's so dry, it almost doesn't rain. And life is so adapted to there that last year, it rained abnormally high and it basically wiped out most of the life in Atacama Desert. Ice environments, this is PhD Mario crawling under glaciers. So I actually took that picture crawling under a glacier, and we know that life can survive there. We have ice on Mars, so maybe the situation is similar. And finally, what I'm doing at the moment is we have these sulfur deposits. So basically, we have these lakes that dry over summer, and we have nice salt. Then winter rains again, the salt gets dissolved, and so on and so forth. And we have this on Mars. And actually, life can survive in those conditions. When I was there 2 weeks ago, it was absolutely frozen, it was minus 30 degrees. So it was very hard to see like that. So, Martian life, is it going to look like this? Is it going to be intelligent life? Come on, better we can find intelligent life on Earth. So obviously not going to be intelligent life. It's going to be more like that. It's going to be microbial life in case there's any life on it. So, I forgot to say this. So obviously now we know that there's life under glaciers, and this is where the story comes in. So these kind of environments were thought of being sterile, so nothing can survive there until 1999. That's more recently that the year I was born in. Now we know that this kind of environment is absolutely rammed with microbes. But the first person to actually describe life in the cold, he didn't know that it was life. But it was Aristotle that described something on top of the glaciers that he called watermelon snow. So basically what you have is on the surface of glaciers, or where there's some very nice recent snow, some algae can proliferate and they give the snow a pink color. And actually they enhance the melting, and what you can find is streams of pink water coming down. And in the 18th century, we're thinking maybe it's iron that is being weathered and it's being trapped. And no, they then find that is algae. And actually, the most concerning thing is that this algae actually can enhance the melting of the ice, making global warming even worse. Because in Greenland, 4 years ago, they found massive algal blooms on top of the glaciers there, making the melting much faster. And they think it's like a qualitative step towards the melting of those glaciers, because they know what the conditions of this melting that's happening massive is going to be. So, going back, so Martian life. Where can we find life on Mars? The surface of Mars is very, very, very harsh. It's even worse than living in London most of the time. So I come from Manchester, I come from a more friendly place, right? So actually the surface, you are exposed to a lot of UV light, so that kills everything. You also have dust storms. Dust storms are very abrasive, that kills everything. But we found that we have these polar caps on Mars, and we have found life on us here on the Earth as well. So maybe that's a good place to look for life. Also, we found that there are aquifers in Mars, at least one. So maybe if there's life, it's going to be concentrated there. And also, more interestingly, the subsurface. The subsurface of Earth is also very proliferated with microbes. It can survive in very extreme conditions of pressure, lack of nutrients. So maybe, protected by very abrupt changes in temperature, UV light, life can proliferate in Mars on these kind of conditions. So, A bit of Martian history. We know Earth. We know that the Earth appeared like 4.6 billion years ago. It was very hot and it became cooler, but something similar happened to Mars, but it was even harsher. So the beginning of Mars was very wet. So very big parts of Mars are covered with clays that can only originate in this very wet environment. Wet is good for microbiology. Microbes love to be in moist areas so they can proliferate. A bit later, there was a massive change that no one knows why it happened, becoming drier, but still there was water. And then nowadays, it's very dry in general. And I want to put this in air commas. So, how do we look for life on Mars? If we can't do that, we look for something that we call biosignatures. So these are things, these are molecules, or these are substances that life can produce that we know that is produced by Mars. By life, sorry. One of them is methane. Methane can also come from like geological sources, but it's kind of different. So we actually can distinguish between biological and not biological methane. Microbes like methanosaccharin can produce methane. Nitrous oxide. Oxygen, obviously cyanobacteria, we all know that can produce oxygen. Some bacteria can do it as well. Some minerals can also be produced specifically by microbes. So if we are able to find these minerals in Mars, we can be quite certain that life is in other planets, or organic molecules that are produced by all living beings. So, this is a very good one. We think, does anyone know what this is? That's a clean room in NASA, right? So this is where spacecraft are assembled to try to keep things sterile. They don't have microbiologists there. Those places are filthy. And by filthy, I mean, actually, some microbes have been able to be recovered from these places, and interestingly, they can survive to very extreme conditions. Some of them can produce spores. Spores are very resistant to UV, desiccation, changing temperature, and also my favorite microbe ever was found in this environment. Let me introduce you to Deinococcus radiodurans, which literally in Latin means the rare berry that receives radiation. This one here, people call it Conanthobacterium because actually it can survive almost anything. It can even survive entering in an atmosphere and burst with the massive change on temperature. But it looks more like this. So, this is my take-home messages. So, life on Mars might be possible. We don't know if it's there. Otherwise, I would be doing this. Mars conditions have become harsh nowadays, so maybe there's no life now, but maybe it could have been in the past, and we might be able to detect it if it was there. And we need to prevent contamination of all the planets when we try to send missions. These are three people that have worked in astro sciences that have inspired me. The first one is obviously Leonardo da Vinci. But he also has a physicist, and then Trey Hudson, more recently, also known as Science Daddy. Everyone can know why. Very nice guy. Actually, he's my mentor. And then if you want to see more adventures about me, this is me on Twitter.